Is AI going to take over our lives? Okay, look, I know this is a stormtrooper helmet and it's not really artificial intelligence, but see, okay, I gotta take this off now. But it's like the only thing I had, right, for right now, and it's awesome, and it's not original, but it's pretty sweet. Okay, so Caroline got on to me last time because I tell too many dad stories, and she told me to stop doing that. I would love to hear from people if they like an occasional dad story, if they want no dad stories. Caroline will not even look up at me right now, everybody. Okay. Oh, I guess I'm gonna get fired here shortly. I better get right to the topic. All right. Is artificial intelligence going to be a tool or a threat to the classroom? And I know that we're seeing this topic in school conferences, and everybody's talking about AI. I didn't want to be left out and not talk about it a little bit. And we can certainly dig into this more. And I think there are a lot more experts on the effects of AI than I am for sure. But I do want to talk about what are the claim benefits and what are the potential threats, because as a strategist, if that's what you want to call me, let's talk about the potential threats if we don't act, regardless of the outcome. What happens if there's a real interesting thing about strategy? Strategy is not hoping and praying that everything works out. It's assuming that things don't go well and building workarounds, those landmines, building workarounds on those things that will cause us not to be successful. So I think that we've got to come at AI, which is how can we best prepare ourselves for what's coming, whether we like it or not. I think that's probably the way it should come out to. And certainly AI has exploded just in the last 18 months alone. ChatGPT to all these other AI assisted tools that are out there. And now some would say that it's going to become a great equalizer, right? It's going to help balance children in the more depressed communities or urban and rural areas, and it's going to kind of raise all ships. A great equalizer. Some fear that it's going to be a fast track to massive dependency, data abuse, and widening inequity. My wife and I we kind of got into not AI, but the fact that schools are going to have to stop educating on certain things. And what my pitch was, why do any school teach cursive anymore? Why? Well, cursive's a beautiful language, and it's nice, and it helps people write fast. Yeah, but people don't handwrite anymore. What they do is they type. And so when I was youngin', I had a choice to go to computer class or typing class. I went to a computer class. That means I don't type really fast, and I don't know how to write in cursive at all. Like, I barely sign my name. But we can't afford to keep teaching things that have gone the way of, antiques when you have all this new technology on. So you're going to have to pick and choose because you have limited time with the students, limited resources. Okay. So what is happening in schools today? Well, we know that ChatGPT and other large language models are being used by students for writing, summarizing, coding, solving math problems. You got AI tutors like Squirrel AI that offer personalized adaptive learning experiences. Now that's interesting. If they can adjust how the student learns, because we don't all learn exactly the same, that's kind of interesting. Let's don't judge it quite yet, but those tools exist. Now, the summarizing, coding, and writing for students, that could be an issue. If you become an adult, you don't know how to read and write, and you're completely dependent on AI, that's kind of driving a car and, you don't even know how to put gas in the tank, much less change the tire. You want to be a little self-reliant, and will become so dependent on AI for summarizing. It's a problem. Now, in law school, we had Cliff Notes, like summaries of lawsuits. It was a tool. It wasn't a computer tool, but it was a summary. It was a condensed version. Did that make us dependent on those summaries? I don't know. All right. So, and then you have predictive dashboards where AI is being used in school districts right now to predict chronic absenteeism. We use a little bit of that right now in our shop. And we've been testing those models. Like, how can we predict not just that the student is chronically absent, but they're soon to be chronically absent so that we can begin intervention. So that's kind of something that it is not great. Nobody's doing it great, but we are in that game. And hopefully whoever you're using is in that game too, of using predictive analysis. And then even predicting academic failure or disciplinary risk. Now, it's a little weird because there was a movie that came out, had Tom Cruise, and it was something like they had a machine or humans that could predict the future, and they thought, well, you're going to commit a crime. They went ahead and arrested you. You haven't committed it, but we saw on the dreams that you were going to commit it and we arrested you. That's where the predictive model really kind of makes me nervous. I don't want to get arrested for something they predict I'm going to do. So I don't want you to discipline a child because it's predicted they're going to have a disciplinary issue. It should be used to stop that behavior, right? And then certainly operational AI for like bus routes, facility management, security systems, all that is been used for a lot of years at different levels. So that's kind of what's going on right now, right? Face recognition software, things like that, right? Okay. So here are the perceived benefits of AI. We got to get in this game. Is personalized support, AI tutors, this adaptive, very specialized learning for students. Sounds awesome. And if we can do that and a student can kind of learn at their own pace and get very specialized attention and they can run the math a little faster and the English takes a little bit more time or whatever the case may be, that seems like a great way to do another benefit, which is save the teacher's time with automation, grading, quiz generation, lesson planning tools, things like that, right? Now, also accessibility. These tools can create and even translate and convert reading into different levels of academic ability. It can deal with disabilities. It can help with people that don't speak the primary language in that district or help teach a new language. It's pretty cool, right? And these data-driven decision tools can certainly help make bus routes more efficient and your security better and enhance performance based on trims. Like, I think we've already seen a lot of that. And so it could be great if it's utilized very effectively with the school. Now, I would say this, if you're a teacher and you're worried about getting replaced, you should worry. And I heard this the other day as I was kind of getting ready for this episode. I was digging into what other people thought about the future of AI will be and the effects. And I heard this great statement, and I wish I wrote down who it was, but I can't remember, is the man said, look, AI is not going to replace great people. It is going to replace mediocre people. Mediocrity can be replaced by AI, but not great, intuitive, awesome people. So mediocre staff, mediocre teachers, yeah, I'd be worried too. So go be an awesome teacher, right? And this is true of any job right now. So that's the risk. Mediocrity can be easily replaced by a great support tool, especially as the next years go by. So kind of keep that in mind. I thought that was a very interesting statement. Okay, here are the risks. They can cheat. Students can cheat. They can have massive dependency on it. The cheating can be actually cured with additional AI models, by the way. AI testing for A is AI create your paper. So that I think can be kind of fixed, and there's some players in that space, right? But without limits, students can learn less and less about how to actually produce and think. So if the AI tool is used as a crutch to just do things, it's going to be terrible. But if it allows the student to operate on a higher level and problem solve, it could be pretty awesome. Now, this divide, economic divide, education divide, now we have a digital divide. Students without using AI, internet, devices, parental tech, all these different things are going to be left behind in the new transition of the world. It's true. My uncle, it's funny, he was, I don't know, 70 at the time, and he had bought a new iPad, a new iPhone. I go, man, you're getting ready to retire. Why do you need a new iPad? Your iPad's only like a year and a half old. He goes, Brian, if you don't stay up with technology, it'll pass you by, and it'll pass you by in a blink of an eye. So you've got to stay up with the technology or you will get left behind. And if you're a young kid and you never get access to the technology, you're going to get left behind. So that's going to occur regardless. So if we don't address this AI issue and we don't figure out a way not to leave anybody behind, people are going to be left behind. Because make no doubt, we're going to be using AI, whether you like it or not, more and more and more and more. We're going to have self-driving cars. My car drives self now. My car right now can drive down the interstate for 3 hours without me touching the wheel. It's a truck. It's a pickup, not a cyber truck. I've had a Ford electric truck. Now I got a Chevy electric truck. It's a self-driving, right? I love it. I'd take my hands off it. It does a better job than I do. So get ready. The revolution's coming, and we will absolutely lose students and leave them behind if they're not in this game. So we can, of course, create job displacement anxiety. Support staff, tutors, and all these other people are going to
perceive themselves as replaceable. Some of them will be replaced. Kind of like when we went from a very agrarian society to industrial society. And as we, as Henry Ford came on and made a production line, they didn't need everybody. So people have to go get trained for new jobs. So that's scary. I don't want to replace people, but they're going to have to adjust what they do so they're not replaceable, but they're working into a new job. And I think we all got to get ready for that. And then you have privacy issues. Obviously, right now, as we stand today, massive lawsuit against PowerSchool. I haven't dug into it about data privacy issues. These AI tools are going to collect huge amounts of sensitive student information. And without oversight, we risk lawsuits and privacy issues and all that stuff. So get ready for that. Okay. So let's kind of quickly dig into what are some of the laws, especially around this data. So don't forget, AI touches multiple federal privacy rules and a lot of state laws too. So make sure you check with your people on the state laws. I'm going to kind of quickly talk about just the federal laws. So we've talked about FERPA before. I don't know if I'm saying that right. FERPA. Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. Protect student education records. Man, well, if an AI steals the data, but you gave AI access to your system, you're liable. So watch out. And don't forget, in that schools must get parental consent before disclosing anything to a third party, even if that third party is an artificial intelligence party. Okay. And any AI tools that are used for student record keeping must be treated under FERPA. So just don't forget about that. Then you have the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, COPPA, C-O-P-P-A. And this applies to websites, online tools. I think it's going to apply to all AI because it's out there in the cloud or whatever that means. And it requires parental consent before collecting data like names, email addresses, location, browsing habits, all that stuff. But trust me, your AI is collecting all that stuff. You better get parental consent. You better watch out if you're starting to use AI in your shops, okay, in your schools, all right? And then you got some states that have additional rules, like California's got the Student Online Personal Information Protection Act. So just go check your laws, your state laws, because they could have increased protections, especially a lot of the state laws are addressing like facial recognition and how that will impact AI-powered security issues. So just be aware that could breach FERPA and COPPA, all right? So just be aware of that. So, but there is a gap, and there's always a gap in the law when it comes to technology. The law's always behind new technology. So the law eventually will catch up, but right now there are really no federal laws that specifically govern the use of AI in public education, but we ought to keep our eye on that, and we probably need some, parameters. We need some legal protections. But right now, the district leaders, you, are going to have to proactively write policies and do your best to clarify what's allowed and to vet all these tools. So, let me walk away like 4 things that schools districts should be thinking about right now. So 4 things that schools should do right now. Step 1, write an AI use policy. Include expectations for both staff and students. Watch those 2 underlying federal laws, watch your state laws, make sure it complies. Make sure your policy does the best you can do for that. Clarify what's allowed, what's prohibited, and what must be reported. So you need a good policy on this. And then you need to vet every AI tool that is used on your campus. And FERPA and COPPA use checklists to evaluate contracts. Pull those up. And it's going to ask things like, here's your checklist. Who owns the data? Who's collecting the data? Where's it stored? Who has access? Did you get parental consent? So just make sure you're complying with that. And then train for smart use. What does it mean? You have a policy, but the policy is only as good as the paper it's written on. You're going to have to actually train your staff. I know. Where's public schools going to get the money to do all this? Oh, yeah. We talked earlier. Sue the social media companies. Okay. So with a policy that's not enforced, it can be misused. Man, this feels like a mountain. The more I'm sitting here saying this, it's like there's so many things that public schools have got to do right now. Getting prepared for the future, making sure that you're training your children for the day. You obviously have a monumental task ahead of you. So I'll tell you the 4th thing. I don't know if you can do all these things, but focus on, and I've seen a lot of good schools do this, focus on human-centered teaching where AI is a support, not a replacement. So if the policy, wrap it back up to step one is, hey, we're going to do human-focused teaching and AI support, not to replace. We're going to prioritize tasks where human connection matters the most: mentoring, discussions, emotional regulations, feedback, all that. But use AI to do all those rudimentary tasks, creating a quiz, judging the quiz, scoring the quiz. But then the teacher, that human, should go back and be like, hey, let me tell you what happened. And teachers should become coaches as much as everything else, as the AI becomes more of an evaluation. That's one way to think about this. We'll keep this discussion on AI going on. We won't know if it's going to be good or bad until it's either real good or real bad. And it'll probably be too late anyway. Let's just do our best out there. All right. Thanks.